Deep in the heart of the Amazon, where sunlight struggles to touch the forest floor and every sound hides a secret, something dazzling, tiny, and deadly waits, they call it beautiful. Nature painted it with every color in her palette: electric blue, blazing yellow, crimson red. But behind that beauty lies a killer so potent, its very skin can end a life in seconds. Meet the poison dart frog, the jungle's most colorful assassin. A creature that defies everything we think we know about size, strength, and survival. This isn't just another frog, this is a story of power disguised as beauty, danger hidden in perfection, and a mystery that's baffled scientists for generations. From ancient tribes who turned its venom into deadly weapons, to researchers still decoding how such a small creature became one of the deadliest on Earth, this jungle legend has earned its place as one of nature's greatest paradoxes. And tonight, we dive deep into its colors, its secrets, its world. But before we uncover the truth behind this vivid venom, make sure to hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and share your thoughts below, because the Amazon still holds stories you won't believe, and this is just the beginning. Now, let's step into the jungle. Deep inside the emerald veins of the Amazon rainforest, where sunlight dances only in fragments and every drop of water carries a reflection of mystery, lives a creature that redefines the word danger. It doesn't roar, it doesn't bear fangs, it doesn't need claws. It simply exists brilliantly, beautifully, lethally. Each inch of its glistening skin holds a secret so powerful, even the greatest predators of the jungle dare to keep their distance. Imagine something no larger than a paperclip, its skin glowing with impossible hues of sapphire blue, flame orange, or neon yellow. A child might reach out, drawn by its mesmerizing colors, not knowing that what looks like the jungle's jewelry could be nature's most sophisticated weapon. Those colors aren't for beauty, they are warnings. A living sign that says, "Touch me, and you die." And the warning is not exaggeration. A single poison dart frog carries enough venom to end the lives of 10 grown humans, yet it weighs less than a single ounce. That power is hard to comprehend. It's like holding a grenade that smiles back at you. The toxin that coats its skin, known as beta-toxin, is one of the deadliest natural substances ever discovered. Even a microgram, a speck invisible to the eye, is enough to stop a human heart. It doesn't burn, it doesn't sting. It simply disrupts the body's electrical system, silencing the nerves that command the heartbeat and the breath. Within moments, life itself slips away. What's even more astonishing is that the frog doesn't produce this toxin itself. It's a thief, a biochemical collector. Deep within the Amazon's dense carpet of leaves lives an army of tiny, venomous ants, mites, and beetles, the unseen architects of the frog's deadliness. When the frog consumes these creatures, its body transforms their toxins into a coat of living armor. It doesn't just store poison, it wears it like a second skin. Every predator that once thought it was an easy meal quickly learns, in this jungle, the brightest colors bite back. But here's where the story takes a stranger turn. When scientists took poison dart frogs out of their natural habitat, raising them in captivity, feeding them ordinary insects, something miraculous happened. The frogs lost their toxicity entirely. The same vivid skin, the same graceful movement, but now harmless. The assassin had been disarmed. It's as if the jungle itself gifted them the weapon, and once they left it, the gift faded away. This discovery opened up one of the Amazon's greatest mysteries. How does a creature so small handle such a lethal dose of poison without succumbing to it? For years, biologists studied their cells, their nervous systems, even their genes, searching for the secret. They found that these frogs possess unique mutations in their nerve receptors, microscopic shields that prevent the toxin from binding to their own body. In essence, they are immune to their own weapon. Nature, in her brilliance, created a perfect balance, a creature that is both vulnerable and invincible. The frog depends on the jungle's chemistry to stay powerful, and the jungle depends on the frog to maintain its hidden equilibrium. Each brilliant flash of color among the leaves is a warning, yes, but it's also a testament to evolution's wild imagination. The frog never hunts with its venom. It doesn't use it for aggression or sport. It simply exists in harmony, dangerous only to those who fail to understand its beauty. Indigenous tribes of the Amazon understood this long before science gave it a name. They called the frogs the breathless ones. Warriors would carefully extract the toxin by gently heating the frog's skin, then coating the tips of their blow darts. Those darts carried silent death through the jungle, invisible, unstoppable. For centuries, the frog's venom meant food, protection, and power. Yet even those who used it treated the frog with reverence, as if aware that they were touching something sacred, something ancient. Today, these tiny jewels of death are symbols of ecological wonder. Their existence reminds us how delicate and interconnected the world truly is. A single insect missing from their diet can mean the end of their toxicity. A single patch of forest destroyed could mean the disappearance of an entire lineage of natural chemistry we barely understand. In the grand theater of life, The poison dart frog stands as one of nature's most astonishing contradictions, small yet powerful, delicate yet deadly, silent yet commanding the fear of giants. Its colors don't just warn of danger, they tell a story of survival, adaptation, and the extraordinary intelligence of nature itself. So the next time you see a flash of color in the rainforest, that hypnotic shimmer of blue or gold, remember what looks like art might just be evolution's deadliest masterpiece. Deep in the misty heart of the Amazon, long before the sound of machines or the light of modern civilization ever reached its canopies, the rainforest holds stories through whispers, the rustle of leaves, the call of birds, the rhythm of rain. Among those stories was one of awe, danger, and respect, the tale of the small, radiant frog whose colors were as mesmerizing as a sunset and whose power was feared more than the jaguar's claws. To the native tribes of this vast green empire, this tiny amphibian wasn't just a creature. It was a weapon, a spirit of the forest, and a symbol of the fine line between life and death. Long before laboratories and microscopes could name its toxin, the people of the Amazon had already learned its secret. They watched the predators avoid it, saw the jungle's most cunning hunters, snakes, birds, and spiders recoil from its vivid skin, and from that observation they discovered something extraordinary. The frog's deadly coating could be harnessed. With a precision born from generations of observation, the tribes learned to capture the frogs carefully, never harming them. Understanding that to respect the jungle's balance was to ensure their own survival, the process was delicate, sacred, and wrapped in ritual. A hunter would collect a handful of these dazzling frogs, often of the philobate species, the most venomous of all. The frogs would be placed near a fire, their heat-stimulated skin secreting tiny beads of toxin. With steady hands, the hunter would dip the tips of his blow darts into those droplets, allowing them to dry and crystallize. Just a touch was enough. The darts, barely larger than a splinter, now carried the weight of death itself. The effect was as silent as it was swift. When released from the blowpipe, a whisper of breath through a hollow reed, the dart would glide through the air unseen, unheard, unstoppable. It needed no blade, no noise. A monkey struck from the treetops would fall within seconds, its muscles frozen, its heart silenced. A wild boar pierced in the leg would collapse before it could even cry out. The jungle, usually alive with sound, would fall still, and that stillness was the sound of the frog's unseen hand. For the tribes, this was not cruelty, it was survival. The forest gave them everything: food, shelter, medicine, and danger in equal measure. They took from it only what they needed, and in return, they honored its spirits. Before coating their darts, some tribes performed chants, offering thanks to the frogs, believing their souls joined the hunters in every expedition. In this relationship between man and creature, the poison dart frog became more than a source of power. It became a guardian, a teacher of respect. What makes this bond even more fascinating is how closely it mirrors nature's own design. The frog never uses its poison to kill. It doesn't hunt or seek conflict. Its toxin is purely defensive, a warning painted in neon on the jungle's canvas. Yet humans, intelligent and curious, found a way to transform that passive defense into one of the most effective natural weapons ever known. It's a reminder of how human survival has always depended on observing nature, learning from it, sometimes even borrowing its most dangerous gifts. Scientists who later studied these tribes were stunned to discover the potency of the frog's toxin. They named it batrachotoxin, one of the most powerful neurotoxins on Earth. Even diluted, it remains thousands of times stronger than morphine, with no known antidote. What the tribes had discovered without formal science was a form of natural chemistry that the modern world is still struggling to replicate. The frogs themselves remain unharmed during the process. The people of the rainforest always release them, believing that to kill one would offend the jungle spirits. What's astonishing is how this ancient knowledge predates modern pharmacology by centuries. Even today, researchers are studying these toxins to create new forms of painkillers, heart treatments, and muscle relaxants. The same substance that once silenced prey might one day save lives in hospitals, a poetic balance of danger and healing. And yet, all of it began with the quiet wisdom of those who lived closest to the earth. In a world obsessed with technology, the story of the poison dart frog and the Amazonian tribes reminds us that nature itself was humanity's first laboratory. The tribes didn't have charts or formulas. They had intuition, patience, and reverence. They learned that beauty could be deadly, and that even death could serve a purpose when wielded with respect. Picture that scene: a hunter standing motionless beneath the emerald ceiling of the rainforest, his breath steady, his eyes locked on a distant shadow in the canopy. In his hand, a small dart, tipped with invisible death, crafted not by machines but by the wisdom of generations, wisdom born from a frog no larger than his thumb. When he raises his blowpipe and exhales, time seems to stop. The dart flies, silent as a thought, guided by centuries of tradition in the jungle's own hand. And somewhere just beyond the light, the forest listens, because it knows its smallest creature has once again changed the fate of the largest. Deep in the dense emerald expanse of the Amazon rainforest, where the air itself seems to hum with ancient energy, Every creature's survival depends on adaptation. Some grow claws, some learn to fly, others, like the poison dart frog, master a subtler art, the art of chemistry. And yet, this chemistry doesn't begin within the frog's own body. The secret of its deadly power begins in the soil, in the smallest corners of the jungle, in the tiny crawling lives that most eyes would never notice. The truth is almost poetic. This killer's strength is borrowed. The poison dart frog is not born toxic. When it first hatches from its jelly-like egg, it's as harmless as a raindrop. It takes time and diet to become the vibrant assassin that the world fears and admires. The source of its venom lies in the minute venom-laced insects that populate the jungle floor: ants, mites, beetles, and other arthropods that feed on poisonous plants and fungi. The frog consumes these insects and, through an extraordinary biological process, converts their toxins into one of the most powerful natural poisons known to man, Toxin. Imagine it, a food chain of death disguised as beauty. The jungle floor becomes a biochemical workshop where every bite of an ant adds another layer to the frog's invisible armor. Over time, this armor becomes so potent that even touching the frog can be fatal. And yet, despite its own lethal coat, the frog moves through life without harm, as if nature has coded a personal immunity deep into its veins. This relationship between predator and prey, toxin and consumer, is not just a biological oddity. It's a masterpiece of coevolution, a chemical symphony perfected over millennia. The frog's diet is not random. It has learned to seek out particular insects whose toxins can be stored without harm. Scientists studying these frogs have found that when the same species is raised in captivity and fed a standard, non-toxic diet such as fruit flies or crickets, the frogs lose their deadly nature entirely. Their vivid colors remain, but their poison vanishes. They become harmless, delicate, and ordinary, no longer the jungle's assassins, but mere survivors. This single discovery rewrote the understanding of toxicity in nature. The poison dart frog is not just a predator, it's an alchemist turning what it consumes into something unimaginably powerful. For decades, biologists have been fascinated by this alchemy. How does a creature so small manage to process and store such lethal substances without killing itself? It turns out that the frog's biology is uniquely engineered for this task. Within its skin are special proteins and binding sites that neutralize the poison's effects internally while still allowing it to remain active on the surface. Essentially, the frog's body transforms into a living vault, one that stores danger safely and displays it proudly. There's something deeply symbolic in that. The idea that power can come not from size or aggression, but from consumption, from transformation. The frog doesn't hunt for domination. It doesn't chase prey across the jungle. It sits patient and still, its vivid colors doing all the talking. Predators learn quickly that its beauty means death. The frog's diet has become its destiny. It has turned the act of feeding into an act of survival through deterrence. Some researchers have even suggested that different species of poison dart frogs owe their variations in toxicity and color to the diversity of their diets. Those who feed on certain ants develop a specific chemical makeup, producing toxins more potent than others. Those in regions with fewer toxic insects develop milder defenses. In this way, the jungle shapes its residents like a painter with 1,000 palettes. Color, diet, and danger all woven together in patterns of adaptation. What's even more fascinating is the ecological ripple this creates, because the frog's toxicity depends on the availability of certain insects, and those insects depend on certain plants. The entire ecosystem becomes a delicate chain, a living equation where every variable matters. Destroy one link and the system collapses. If the poisonous ants vanish, the frogs lose their toxicity. If the frogs disappear, the predators who've learned to avoid them lose their caution and may die eating others that look similar but aren't toxic. The jungle's balance shifts quietly but catastrophically. The Amazon is full of predators that kill with claws and teeth, but none compare to this, a creature that kills through chemistry. Every meal is a step toward lethality, every insect a drop of venom added to its arsenal. Its danger is not loud or violent, it's patient, invisible, and built one bite at a time. In this way, the poison dart frog teaches a lesson older than language, that strength can come from the smallest things, and that even the mightiest forces in nature often begin in silence. Somewhere under the shadow of giant ferns, a frog crouches, barely larger than a thumb, skin glowing like molten jewels. It doesn't hunt, it doesn't flee, it simply breathes, confident in the shield it has built from the jungle's own secrets. A tiny life forged from 1,000 smaller ones, carrying the pulse of evolution in every heartbeat. It is not born deadly, it becomes deadly. And in that transformation lies one of nature's most astonishing stories, a reminder that sometimes what we consume shapes not just our bodies, but our very destiny. Deep within the endless green of the Amazon, where the air feels alive and every sound echoes through the cathedral of trees, a remarkable scene unfolds. The forest hums, alive with the pulse of survival. Every creature fights, flees, or adapts, but among the leaf-littered floors and mist-shrouded branches, there exists a tiny creature whose heart beats not for conquest, but for care. In this story of poison and beauty, of danger and awe, there is a tenderness that few would expect. Beneath the skin of the jungle's most lethal jewel beats the heart of one of nature's most devoted parents, the poison dart frog. In a world where predators lurk behind every vine and survival depends on ruthless instinct, the poison dart frog defies the law of the wild. Instead of leaving its young a chance, it guards them with near mythic dedication. The male, often no larger than your thumb, transforms from a silent killer into a guardian. His colors, sapphire blue, gold, crimson, shine not as a threat now, but as a beacon to his mate and offspring. When the female lays her delicate cluster of eggs, often hidden beneath damp leaves or within the shadow of a root, the male stands watch. He keeps them moist, carefully carrying droplets of water from nearby streams in his mouth to prevent them from drying out under the tropical heat. Every day is a vigil. Every moment a fight against the invisible dangers of dehydration, predators, and decay, but the true marvel begins once those eggs hatch. From the translucent spheres emerge tadpoles, fragile, wriggling sparks of life. In most of the animal kingdom, this would be the end of parental duty. But for the poison dart frog, it's only the beginning of an extraordinary journey. The male crouches low, allowing the tiny tadpoles to wriggle onto his back. There they cling with an almost desperate instinct, their small, translucent bodies sticking to his moist skin. And then, against all odds, the journey begins. Step by step, hop by hop, this devoted father carries his young through the dense jungle, scaling roots, leaping over puddles, avoiding the hungry eyes of snakes and birds. Some travel only a few meters, others miles. It can take days. His destination, the smallest of pools, tiny reservoirs of rainwater trapped in the cups of bromeliad plants high up in the trees or nestled within leaves that cradle the sky's tears. Each pool becomes a nursery. The father deposits one tadpole per pool, ensuring that each has enough space and water to grow safely. The precision of this act is astonishing. Each tadpole is placed carefully, almost lovingly, as if the father knows that even the smallest misjudgment could mean death. Once his mission is complete, his duty doesn't end. In some species, the mother takes over, returning periodically to each pool to feed the tadpoles with unfertilized eggs, a mother's selfless offering to her young. This behavior, rarely seen in amphibians, showcases one of the most sophisticated and emotional forms of parental care in the animal world. It's easy to forget that these frogs, often known for their lethal venom, are also architects of life. Beneath their deadly armor lies compassion, the kind that drives them to risk everything to ensure their offspring survive. Predators look everywhere, yet the frog continues its pilgrimage, guided by instinct, driven by an invisible force stronger than poison devotion. Scientists have watched this phenomenon in awe. They've tracked male frogs carrying their tadpoles across impossible terrain, climbing 30 feet or more up slippery leaves and vines to reach hidden pools. They've observed females returning week after week to feed their offspring, choosing which pool needs more nourishment, recognizing their young by scent and sound. This is not mindless biology. This is orchestration. This is care. It's fascinating how nature hides tenderness in the most unexpected forms. The poison dart frog, so small, so deadly, becomes a symbol of balance. Its venom may end life, but its love ensures it continues. In this paradox lies the essence of the jungle, that beauty and brutality are never separate, that within every killer lies the heart of a creator. Imagine standing in the stillness of the rainforest, hearing the rhythm of raindrops against leaves. Somewhere nearby, a father frog is climbing a moss-covered branch, carrying the next generation on his back. His skin gleams with warning colors, but his mission is not destruction, it's preservation. Each movement, each breath, each leap carries the weight of the species' survival. And when he finally reaches that perfect rain-filled cradle and gently releases the tadpole into its new home, the jungle itself seems to pause. For a fleeting moment, death's messenger becomes life's protector. The poison dart frog, the jungle's radiant assassin, reveals the truth behind its fearsome mask, that even the deadliest creatures can hold the deepest tenderness. In the heart of danger, there lies devotion. In the silence of the jungle, there echoes the softest, most powerful vow, a parent's promise to protect life, no matter how small. In the dense, humming heart of the rainforest, where sunlight flickers like liquid gold through the canopy, every creature tells a story. But few tell it as boldly or as beautifully as the poison dart frog. It doesn't hide in shadows, doesn't blend into bark or mud. Instead, it stands out, a living explosion of color: cobalt blue, lemon yellow, scarlet red, emerald green. Its tiny body glows like a jewel dropped onto the forest floor. In a world where camouflage is survival, this frog's brilliance seems like madness, but its madness is its magic. Those radiant colors are not vanity, they are warnings, bright banners of danger painted by evolution itself. The frog's skin is a masterpiece of contrast, a palette of perfection designed for one purpose: to be seen. To the untrained eye, those patterns may look beautiful, even harmless. To a predator, they are a signal as clear as lightning in a storm: don't touch me. In the language of survival, this is known as aposematism, nature's way of saying, I am dangerous. The poison dart frog's colors are not random splashes of beauty, they are calculated codes of fear, each hue representing a different level of toxicity. The brighter the color, the deadlier the frog. Imagine a jaguar prowling the undergrowth, its golden eyes scanning for movement. It spots the shimmer of a tiny frog glowing like a gemstone among the leaves. Instinct says leap, hunger says bite, but experience whispers no. Somewhere in its memory, a bitter taste lingers, the memory of another frog that burned its tongue, numbed its jaw, and left it retching for hours. That single unforgettable encounter was the jungle's lesson. And the lesson is written in color. This remarkable defense mechanism doesn't just protect the frog, it teaches the entire ecosystem. Birds, snakes, and mammals all learn, generation after generation, that bright colors in the Amazon often mean danger. In a way, the poison dart frog becomes a teacher, its beauty a warning passed down through instinct and survival. It doesn't need to fight, it doesn't need to run. Its colors do the work of 1,000 weapons. But this dazzling brilliance is not universal. Each species of poison dart frog has its own signature, a unique pattern of color and toxin. Some are electric blue with black spots like drops of ink in water, others shimmer gold, orange, or even metallic green. These colors are shaped by their environment, the light that filters through leaves, the predators that stalk their shadows, and the insects that feed their toxicity. Every color tells a story, every hue an adaptation carved by the silent dialogue between predator and prey. Scientists studying these frogs have found that even slight variations in color can determine how predators respond. A frog with brighter skin is attacked less often, even if it isn't the most toxic. This means color itself can become more powerful than the poison it represents, a psychological weapon. Over time, evolution sharpened this illusion, turning warning into artistry. The frog became a painter and the jungle its gallery, yet, for all its brilliance, this color code carries a risk. Standing out in the rainforest means inviting attention from predators, from humans, from collectors who crave the exotic beauty of the wild. The same colors that protect it from one danger make it vulnerable to another. In some regions, these frogs are captured, smuggled, and sold as living ornaments. Removed from their home, their diet, their chemistry, their colors fade, their toxins vanish. What remains is beauty without power, warning without meaning. Still, in the wild, their colors continue to dazzle and defend. Each frog, no bigger than a coin, commands respect from animals 100 times its size. There's something poetic about that. How nature gave such tiny beings such loud voices. How their beauty speaks in silence. The poison dart frog doesn't chase, doesn't roar, doesn't hide. It simply exists, radiant and defiant, a living paradox, fragile yet fearless. To watch one in its element is to witness nature's most brilliant lie, the illusion that beauty equals innocence. But here, beauty is danger wrapped in perfection. Its skin glows under the filtered sunlight, each movement a shimmer of warning. To the eyes of the jungle, this is not decoration, it's survival through spectacle. And perhaps that's why these frogs capture our imagination. They challenge the human idea that beauty and danger must be opposites. They remind us that nature rarely separates the two. Beneath every breathtaking display lies a story of survival, written in blood, instinct, and evolution. The poison dart frog is living proof that in the wild, beauty is not weakness, it is power perfected. So when you see that flash of neon among the leaves, that impossible spark of blue or gold, remember what it means. It's not an invitation. It's a warning written by time itself, a declaration from a creature that has turned color into armor. And in that flash of brilliance, the jungle speaks one simple truth sometimes. The most beautiful things are the most untouchable. There's a haunting irony hidden within the brilliance of the poison dart frog, a paradox that feels almost poetic. This creature, so small yet powerful enough to end 10 human lives with a touch, owes its entire legend to the wild heart of the Amazon. Yet when it's taken from that world, when it's separated from the soil, the rain, the insects, and the living pulse of the jungle, its power fades into nothing. The same frog that once carried death on its skin becomes harmless, fragile, and soft. It loses not just its toxicity, but part of its identity. In captivity, the deadly jewel of the rainforest turns into a harmless gem. The transformation seems almost supernatural. When scientists first began studying poison dart frogs in laboratories, they were baffled. Captive frogs, raised on diets of ordinary fruit flies and small crickets, showed no trace of poison in their systems. Their skin, once coated with lethal batrachotoxin, became as safe to touch as any ordinary frogs. At first, researchers thought the frogs had evolved to stop producing poison in safety. But then came the truth. The poison was never truly theirs. It was borrowed, crafted by the ecosystem itself. Their toxicity was a gift of the jungle passed to them through the food chain. Without their native diet, the specific ants, beetles, and mites that carry toxic alkaloids, the frogs lose the raw materials needed to build their deadly shield. What this means is astonishing. The poison dart frog is not inherently poisonous. It's a reflection of its environment, a mirror of the rainforest's chemical symphony. Every drop of venom, every electric hue of warning is a song written by the jungle's hands. Take the frog away and the song goes silent. This discovery changed the way biologists viewed the frog forever. It wasn't a static creature defined by its poison. It was dynamic, shaped by its surroundings, alive in dialogue with the Amazon itself. The rainforest wasn't just its home. It was its heartbeat. Its toxicity depended on the ants that fed on toxic plants, the humidity that sustained those plants, and the microhabitats that sheltered its prey. Every layer of the forest, from the soil to the canopy, played a part in creating this living weapon. Remove even one link in that chain, and the miracle collapses. That realization brought a deeper truth and a warning. As deforestation carves deeper into the Amazon, as mining and agriculture strip away the frog's habitats, we aren't just losing species, we're erasing entire systems of chemistry, relationships that nature has spent millions of years perfecting. Somewhere in that balance, in a single drop of poison or the wing of a tiny beetle, may lie medicines undiscovered, treatments for pain, heart disease, even paralysis. Scientists have already isolated compounds in poison dart frogs that could one day replace addictive opioids, offering powerful pain relief without harm. The same venom that once silenced breath could one day save it, but if the forest falls silent before we learn their language, those secrets will vanish forever. In captivity, the frogs live, but their power does not. Their colors remain, but their story is incomplete. They are living reminders that beauty cannot exist in isolation. That power without nature's harmony becomes hollow. Watching a poison dart frog in the wild is like witnessing a living paradox, beauty balanced on the edge of danger, fragility infused with strength. In captivity, it remains beautiful, yes, but the danger, the mystery, the pulse of its wild origin, all are gone. It becomes a ghost of what it once was, a symbol of how even nature's deadliest wonders rely on the ecosystems that made them. The frog's lost poison is more than a scientific curiosity, it's a mirror held up to humanity. It shows how deeply life depends on its roots, how even the smallest creature draws its power not from itself, but from the world around it. We, too, are part of that web. We breathe the same air and drink the same rain and share the same fragile home. And so, when we think of the poison dart frog, that radiant killer turned harmless captive, we are reminded of a truth as old as the forest itself, that nothing in nature exists alone. Its colors may still glow, but they glow brightest only under the green light of the jungle canopy, where every sound, every drop of water, every insect, and every life form plays its part. Take away the jungle and you take away the magic. In the end, the poison dart frog's story is not just one of power, it's one of connection. Its venom, its beauty, its warning, and its song all belong to the wild symphony that gave it life. And maybe that's what the jungle has been whispering all along, that even the deadliest among us are nothing without the world that made us. So when you hear the rain fall over the Amazon, remember the tiny frog whose skin once shimmered like lightning, whose poison once ruled the forest, and whose silence in captivity tells a story of what we stand to lose. Because in that silence is the echo of the wild calling us to listen before it's gone.